धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः।
Om Shahnam Bhavatu Shahnam Bhunaktu Sahavirjai Karvavahe Tejvashinadhi Ma Viddishavahe. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Let us sit down and study together. Through discussion, we sharpen each other's intellect. May we not bear any ill will towards each other. Peace, peace, peace. Let peace prevail.
So, Amitabh, we are here, chapter 13. And
Yeah, it's a very important chapter to understand the universe and our own constitution and what we are supposed to do.
yeah, it's Krishna's blueprint to reality, right? I mean, so,
Yes.
with very much clarity, as much clarity as he can, we may have difficulty understanding because it's such a profound subject. And like other chapters, Amitabh, I underestimated the kind of depth that this chapter kind of goes into. Without holding back anything, it's about Kṣetra and Kshetragya.
Yes.
And it starts very simple, right? I mean, idam shariram kaunteya kshetra mitya bhidiyate. So he talks about what is Kshetra. That's like field, right? It's like a playing field, somebody
It's a field of action.
field of, yeah, well, field, yeah, the body is the field, right? Our body is the field. And the person who knows that this is my body is the knower or kshetragya.
That's right.
It starts so simple, right? I mean, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. When it unfolds, it becomes a little blurred.
Yeah, I know. It's like somebody has a abdominal injury when he comes in the ER. Probably, everything looks normal, but a lot is going inside. It's like a wrong analogy, but it's true. That's how it is. I mean, the depth, and he goes on to say that it is Kshetra or my body or Kshetragya. Like you always say, we are the microscopic version of Brahman.
No, we are microscopic version of the universe. Okay.
Oh, okay. The body, yeah.
Yeah, body, yes.
Yeah. But the Kshetragya, which is the knower, is a microscopic version of
yes. And that is within us it is Atman, in the universe it is Brahman.
Yeah. So then he kind of defines,
first, let us start with the verse 4 where Krishna tells that, yes, in Veda it is described, but it is better described in Brahma Sutra.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Brahma Sutra, Padaishcheva. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say what is the constitution of our body. Okay.
So he talks about Kshetra after that. What is Kshetra? Like the body, which is the word used here, we can use the word Kshetra or field.
Field of action or field.
Yeah, field itself.
The person who and the entity that knows what the field actually is.
Yeah. I mean, people shouldn't confuse like soccer field or cricket field. But even there is a field and somebody who, curates it and manicures it and, puts water into it. So there is a knower there as well. But this field we are talking about is like Purush and Prakriti. So, I mean, that word is mentioned here as well, but that comes more from other philosophies. But basically, can you explain the Purush and Prakriti again, and so that we can relate it to?
We touched it before. The word Purush and Prakriti is more of terminology from Sankhya Yoga, Kapil's Sankhya Yoga.
Yeah.
Kapil's Sankhya, Purush is basically equates with Brahman of Vedanta.
Right.
Only difference there in Sankhya that Kapil asserted, the Purush changes. In Vedanta, the Atman, does not change, or Brahman does not change. That's the constant. So later on, Buddha took that Kapil's idea and he called it anatma. It's not non-self. Anyway, so that
So,
is
yeah, different terminology, but if we
terminology.
translate Prakriti to English, it's more kind of nature, right? The properties of nature.
Yes, Prakriti is basically whatever made of the natural elements.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In one of these verses in this chapter says Prakriti is also present from the beginning, and the Purush is also present from the beginning, or Brahman is
Right.
present from the beginning.
Yeah, when it comes, we will touch on that
But,
definitely.
but the source of Prakriti or the natural element is still the transcendental energy of the universe. Prakriti comes out of it.
Prakriti comes out of it, but when you are in the world of duality, Prakriti is more the nature, material, that
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Exactly.
And the Purush is more of consciousness,
That is right.
right?
That is very, very, very true. Uh,
Yeah,
In in terms of knowledge or absolute, Purush or the Brahman or Atman is the constant thing.
yeah,
The natural elements came out of it, but in our world, as we perceive, they appear to be different.
right. So that's why we are talking duality, right?
That's right.
So in non-duality terms, they may be, it's like the source is one. But here, Krishna also is talking about Kṣetra and Kshetra. He starts with the dual existence.
That's right.
And one is the knower, who I am. And
Yes.
that is the whole inquiry, right? I mean, that's the whole exploration. Like you need to know who you are. So
That's right.
sometimes, it's easy to say Kshetra is the field or the body or the, body plus. It's not just the body. Uh, and then the other part is the inside me, the consciousness. But that is for us who don't know it fully. It's something that we explore.
That is right. That
Yeah,
is right. Because it is difficult for us to perceive or imagine what Atman or Brahman is,
yeah,
because they are avyakta akshara, okay,
yeah,
and they are unmanifest,
yeah.
okay. And whatever we measure is with our five senses, our mind, intellect, and all that. So to us, usually that is not very much understandable or beyond our comprehension. Only through different methodology
Right.
we understand who, as in Upanishad is called neti, 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 not this, and then you reach to the
Yeah, so that's one way of doing it.
one way of doing it.
Here,
So
I think one of the verse it says three or four
that's right.
different methodology.
That's
So
right.
we will get to that, but basically you are going inside, exploring, and knowing that Kshetragya. So Krishna not only defines what those two are, but he also tells us how to, what the characteristics are and
That's
how to
right.
get there.
That's right.
And that is, I think, crucial to understand that it's not just definition.
That's right.
There is also the characteristics or properties, and then he goes on to say how can you get there.
Basically, it is realization.
Yeah, and earlier when we talked, backstage, we talked about the last verse where it says Gyan Chakshu, and I was thinking more about it. Is that as our understanding gets better, we seem to understand same Gita differently.
Definitely.
And not only Gita, I mean, even in our surgical life, as we progressed, as we did, read, as we did research, as our knowledge advanced, so did our performance of understanding. So it's like every time there is a gyan, there is a chakshu. So gyan chakshu doesn't necessarily mean a kind of divya drishti, which is like somebody granted you some special visualization, but your own understanding can increase as you explore further, right?
Yes. That is the vision with knowledge.
Yeah, I mean,
Incrementally.
Incremental. It is incremental. That's I think that's the key word, incremental.
Yes.
So then he defines what this Kṣetra is. It's not just the body, right?
No.
So he says, Mahabhutanya ahankaro buddhiravyat mevacha indriyani dashaikam cha panch chendriya yog gochara. So basically, I'm not going into each detail, but this he talks about
I think, Krishna, can I say one thing? I
yeah.
think we should say those things.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean,
So
often,
Panchabhut, you know that water element, those elements, right?
yes, the Panchabhutam, the five elements according to Hindi philosophy:
Yeah,
earth, wind, fire, fire, space, water.
yeah.
Yeah. So these are the elements which
Components of the body, physical body.
physical Panchabhutam.
Yeah,
Okay. Then there is what is called Pancha Indriya. There or the word is Sparshendriya.
no,
I'm not
that's Indriya. That means yeah.
Gyanendriya.
Two nose, two eyes, two ears.
That's right. The
So yeah,
five
sense organs, but you double it, so it becomes 10, right? Yeah.
no, actually it is more than that.
Okay.
Okay. That is Pancha Indriya, which is Gyanendriya, and then there are 10 Karmendriyas.
Okay.
Okay, that is called Karmendriya.
Yeah.
And offhand, I don't remember
No, he
exactly.
says sound, touch, vision. I mean, vision means roop. Roop is like form, and
Rupa,
ras,
Skandha,
ras and gandh. Gandh means the what
fragrances.
smell. Yeah,
Okay. So, I mean, nose is the organ,
yeah,
okay, and the smell or the fragrance is the rus of it. That means how we
yeah. Perceive.
function to that particular organ. Okay.
Right. Sense
So,
organ. Yeah,
sense. So, five sense organ, 10 organs of function. Okay.
yeah,
Then these five uh, modes of understanding. Okay. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, and all that. And then there is ego or the
buddhi,
desire.
buddhi and ego, and don't
Then,
forget man. That's the thing.
yeah, man, buddhi, ahankar.
Yeah, man, buddhi, ahankar. Yeah,
These are mind, intellect, and ego.
yeah,
Okay. All these together, composite, make a human being.
yeah.
Okay. Now,
But he goes on to further.
yes,
Ichha dvesha dukham sukham
yes,
sangatascetanadhriti.
yes.
So, he also talks about all these emotional things that
That's right. I was
we
going to
talk
go
about.
into that. Then there is a psychological element.
Yeah.
Psychological element is not man buddhi.
Mhm.
Then these are the feelings also.
Yeah.
Okay. As you enumerated them.
Jealousy,
Jealousy,
happiness,
happiness.
sorrow, etat kshetram samasena savikara mudahritam. So, I mean, somehow he calls them vikar, but, it's a reality.
The Sanghatam, the word that is used,
Yeah.
means all these, when they work together, they
Mhm.
become also the body. Okay,
Yeah.
Sangha. So the question, the point is, this makes us understand the composition of a human being or
Yeah.
composition of the physical world. Okay. Now I must interject here, which is not mentioned,
Yeah.
a corollary to that in the universe,
Yeah.
which you find in Vedanta.
Mhm.
Okay. There is Brahman, which is the transcendental life energy of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay. It has a intention of creation, and that intention is called Mahat. Okay. And then with these five elements, earth, wind, fire, space, water altogether in a small subunit, which is called Tanmatra.
Yeah.
With that, he creates the physical world. Okay. So, on one hand, we understood what the composition of a human being is.
Yeah.
On the other hand, which is not mentioned here, but I brought it from Vedanta just for the parallel situation, how the universe is built up all around us. So this concept is very, very important as to understand what is the field of action or what the field is.
Yeah. So
This
the
is the
field, or say the human body or anybody,
or the
he
physical
also
world.
includes Dhriti and Chetana.
Dhriti and Chetana. Yeah.
That is interesting. So Dhriti is different than Buddhi.
Yes. Can you define that Dhriti a little bit?
Uh, I don't see the big difference. Buddhi is intelligence, intellect. And Dhriti and Chetana here, I think Chetana is like you're aware that your body,
Awareness. Yes.
awareness about your body. Uh, and but Dhriti is a different terminology used in this Kṣetra. Yeah.
So it is basically perseverance or patience and whatever you want to call it.
Resilience,
I like, yeah, diligence.
yeah,
So,
diligent, yeah.
so all together, the physical thing, the psychological thing, the consciousness, the desire, all together,
Yeah.
it's a composite, uh, and that is the field of action or the body.
Yeah, or Kṣetra,
Etc. Yeah.
Kṣetra here, yeah.
So, so that is a very important concept
Yeah.
to know, its
Yeah.
composition. Okay.
So now he tells a little bit about how you will know the other one.
That's right.
So before he tells more properties of the other one, which is Kshetragya, which is the knower, how to know about it. I mean, that's interesting that he tells you first, it's like humility and some characteristics you need. It's like when you have ego is dropped, you are forgiving. These are the words that he has. You are simple, you are trusting, you are devoted. So some bahar bhitar ki shuddhi, like you should be kind of, there is purity of inside and outside.
Yeah. Actually, verses from 7 to 11,
Yeah,
he enumerates all these characteristics
right.
for us to comprehend
Yeah,
what this field of action is. And then he enumerates all of them. It's a long list,
yeah,
but we can go over that.
yeah. I mean, we can list it, but basically, you have to kind of, ego, desire complex have to be on the lower side.
That's right.
You humbleness and humility and the goodness, that we use the word. I mean, he doesn't use the word goodness here, but all the good qualities.
Yeah, what we
And
consider to be good qualities,
yeah.
yes.
And man indriya, this is so important. Many people say that you should not control your man, or you should not control your desires, or you should not control your, because they think that if you control that, you are suppressing that. But that's not what Krishna is talking about. When they say nigra, it's not suppression.
No, it is
Because,
modulating. It is
yeah,
modulation.
it's modulating, because if you don't do it, each, like we learned it in earlier chapter, that the example of that boat, a
Yeah,
sailboat.
it's like a rudderless boat.
Yeah, it becomes like one desire, one single desire, or one indriya can hijack your whole being. And
Yes.
do you want to let that happen, or do you want to have a modulation or control on it, or regulation on it? I mean, that is the difference, because especially, many people will say, no, 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 don't suppress it. Let the child express whatever he wants to express. It's okay to express anger on a pillow, but it is not okay, if you are just expressing your anger all over.
You see, I mean, it's not suppression. It's the problem with that. We often think suppression. It's
Yeah.
not suppression. What Gita says. Gita says
No.
it is. You have to filter it.
Yeah, the
And
word used nigrah, which is,
it-
yeah, it's like, as you say, modulation, regulate,
yes,
but you control it rather than Indriya controls you.
exactly,
So
exactly.
you choose what you want to do
And
rather than,
that happens from your discriminating mind or the intellect.
yeah,
Like intellect is placed in Gita, intellect is placed above mind.
above man, right? Sometimes, it's hard to understand man and mind, because mind we relate with intellect as well. So English doesn't have those two separate, it's like wishing mind, we can call it man.
The thing we should also understand is at the mind level
Yeah,
that our mind goes by perception, and our mind is also controlled by the traits or gunas.
yeah,
Okay. So, so that's why the discriminating mind or the intellect is placed higher than mind. It is through that level we filter, we rationalize, and choose the right action. So that's a
exactly. But Krishna already taught them, but here he just lists, what are the things that, a person
exactly.
has to. Indriyarthesu vairagyam ahankaram evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha sukha doshanudarshanam. So, so he doesn't say that those things won't happen to you.
No, it will happen. Yes, it will happen. But
Because you will
how,
you will get old. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. All those four things will. Janm is, we will be born. Somebody will be born. Mrityu is death. Jara means, you are growing old. Vyadhi means, some
disease.
illness, right?
Yes,
And on top of that, dukkha, sukh, those things will. And, doshanu darshanam. I mean, those things will happen.
yes.
And they're he calls them dosh, but yeah, I mean those are not so good. Is a dosh, right? And then he also talks, so that's, it's like, he goes systematic. I mean, first he talks about the indriyas, then uh, and the body regulation, indriya regulation, and then he talks about the family. It's like he got everything, putra, stri, ghar, dhan, it's like everything that can bind you.
Yes.
And you have to kind of have a different relationship. I mean, it's not saying don't do your duty, but how are you related? What is your relationship with the house? How is your relationship with your wife, your, son? So some people will say, how can you not be related? But that's not what Gita tells you, not to be related.
Gita tells you to love, but not in the bondage.
Yeah, it's your decision rather than you are forced by your instinct or forced by a certain desire. It's like, keeps giving you all these things. Yeah, you were saying about he has given a long list.
It's a long laundry list of what are the actions mentally and physically we should do to
Yeah,
understand what this whole concept of field and the person and the knower of the field. So
yeah,
so these are the list of mental physical function that he lists, which facilitates the whole understanding.
yeah. I understand that, Amitabh, but one thing is there, so like when you're thinking of doing that, you are not going through the checklist. I mean, it's not a checklist. If you become kind of um, in that stage of being, those things will flow out of you.
Yeah, just like we talked before, but with that knowledge,
Yeah,
you start recognizing where you are faltering, and then you are channeling.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that not a checklist for, flying a plane or something, but what he's saying that you can monitor yourself, that every time, suppose you suddenly your attachment goes there, or you feel like, yes, you're, so that awareness, that chetana, as you develop, as you explore yourself, it will keep, showing up. Like in spite of all this Gita lesson, when Arjun's son Abhimanyu dies, I mean, Arjun is torn apart, right? And we will all be torn apart.
Yes.
But then Krishna does show him. He doesn't say don't mourn and don't cry, but he does show him the truth um, as a accountability partner, and kind of shows him there. But it's not that you won't have emotions, but can you understand that those emotions are not part of you? That
Basically, when you say that realizing those emotions are coming and going,
yeah,
and they're not the permanent accompaniment of ours. In other words, that's the way we get out of bondage.
right. Knowing that yes, I am emotional, but I think we are heading to that, verse that we loved so much, the 14th. So now he switches. So he's talked about path of seeing, how do we see and what we need, talks about Atmagyan, when you say Nitya Yukta, that we have talked so many times. And, once you have that, you're settled in that yourself, then all these things will happen to you. So yes, as you said, you don't have to have a checklist, but you should be aware of what to expect, just in case. Because I think later on, I mean, I have been thinking about these two things that always happen, right? One is swadharma that you develop into, and the other is swabhav, which is the natural instinct, which you have been conditioned in so many ways for so many years that certain things you will go and behave like that even without knowing that. It's like,
This swabhav that you talked about, the habit,
yeah,
is basically at the level of mind because it originates from perception. And I said that many a times. Our perceptions happen from past learning and conditioning,
yeah,
our ego, and our expectation. These three components make our perception. Also, at the same time, what is the prevalent trait at that point?
yeah,
Which one is which guna is prevalent in our within ourselves? So
yeah,
these things all together create a perception. But on the other hand, if we have this knowledge, we can use the intellect to filter it.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
what is
I
important?
understand, that's definitely, but what happens sometimes, what I was trying to say is that conditioning kind of, you go on that path, it's like, driving a car, if you are driving home
And
every day,
it's a known road, so you obviously want to drive
that you take that path, but yeah, take the break and, take a pause and change your, direction. So, gayam, the thing that you need to know, or knowable thing. Now I'm going to tell you about this, the other part, which is the Kshetragya. So far he was talking about what is Kshetra, or what's your body, in our, case. Then he talked about your requirements to know the Kshetragya. So you have to have all that, 12, whatever, 10 chapters that we had before the Virat Roop, a good knowledge, good understanding. Um, then those conditions you can understand it better, definitely. But to me, it's not really a checklist. It's more like you become a person whose behavior becomes that,
exactly.
rather than you don't care about who you are, just try to follow those. I mean, it's not commandments. That's what I'm trying to say.
On the other, I mean, we can elaborate that a little bit. I mean, when you are doing the checklist,
Yeah.
you are still different from that checklist. Here, in that 7 to 11, he says, you become the checklist automatically. Okay.
Exactly. You become that if you followed the first
What
step.
is you become that?
Yeah, you become that. Yeah,
You are not doing the checklist. You become that checklist.
right. Yeah. Sarvatah Panipadam. His feet is everywhere. Tat Sarvato Shiromukham. And his face is everywhere. It's like his eyes are everywhere. His head is everywhere. It's like Sarvatah Shruti Sarvama Vitya Tishtati. I'll read the Hindi translation. वह सब और हाथ पैर वाला, सब और नेत्र, सिर और मुख वाला तथा सब और कान वाला है, क्योंकि
Can I say one?
सबको व्याप्त करके स्थित है. So he's all pervading, but the description is so beautiful.
Yes. Basically, this one, I mean, summarizes what we saw in his cosmic form, Vishwarup Darshan. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
in one verse, right?
one verse he mentions that. Okay. And to make it a little bit familiar to us, that's why he talks in the human form term.
Mouth, head, feet,
But
hand.
but the verse can be summarized in one word, Sarva Vyapi,
Yeah, sarvavyapi, all pervading.
all pervading. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what it is.
So that is the description of the form, if there is a form of the formless.
Yes.
And then the description of how it functions. I mean, that is
a very important verse.
a very important verse, sarvendriya gunabhasam. So वह संपूर्ण इंद्रियों के विषयों को जानने वाला है. So he knows the function of each and every sense organ. Sarvendriya vivarjitam. Asaktam sarvabhuchaiva nirguna gun bhoktri cha.
That is the key word. Nirguna guna bhaktaja.
Yeah, but even the first one, asaktam.
Yes.
So he's non-attached, but still he is the nourishment for everybody. So he's non-attached, but still he's nourishing them. And then he's nirgun, but he enjoys all the gunas.
Yes. So basically it is Virodhavas.
It is paradox.
That's what it is, Virodhavas is.
Yeah.
So it is saying, on one hand, this Atman or this transcendental energy within us
Yeah.
knows all about our sense organs and everything,
Yeah.
and yet he is not there. He just watches it, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the first one is paradox of senses.
yes.
So all the sense organs, he's unrelated to it, but he knows them all.
Yes.
Then, it's like
he's not affected by any of the traits, yet he enjoys all these traits.
Yeah. And then he says paradox of, it's like attachment.
Yes.
He's non-attached, but he still supports everything.
That's right.
And then he talks about paradox of gunas.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm not focusing on gunas because next chapter, when we get to, it's all deep into gunas. But so far, we know that when we talk of gunas, This is rajas, tamas, and sattva.
Yes.
And sattva is more of a bright light, it's like something that illuminates the person. Rajas is the force, that we function, like Arjuna is going to fight. And tamas is some kind of inertia, weight that kind of, holds you down a little. So, yeah, we will get to when we get it. But this 14th verse is amazing. It's
Actually,
like
you get a glimpse of the same thing in Isha Upanishad. I quoted that to you. Om tadejati tannai taddure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasam ya sarvasya vajjatam. He's far yet near, near yet far. He doesn't have any shape, but assumes the shape whatever he enters. Basically, the idea is the same.
yeah.
Okay. So, so although he knows or can enter everything, but yet he's out of that. So he's not attached to that. And that is the key thing.
Yeah, that leads into the next verse 15, which says, Bahirantasya bhutanam acharam charameva cha. वह चराचर सब भूतों के बाहर भीतर परिपूर्ण है और चर अचर भी वही है.
Actually, that is the idea from that Isha Upanishad verse too. The same thing.
The next one is Sukshma. Sukshma tat Vigyeyam Durastham Chantike Chatat. So his Sukshma is so small that he can't be, grasped. He is so near that you don't even feel his presence. So that's what your verse says, right? You're near yet far, it's like.
And that's the paradox.
That's another paradox, yeah. And Chandogya Upanishad, I love that example they have, and that is Sarva Khalamidam Brahma. I mean, the whole universe is Brahman, just one little formula, instead of all these wordings. But it says that he, which is, Brahman, is smaller than a grain of rice and as vast as bigger than earth. It's like it's a metaphor or kind of showing the paradox here.
In Upanishad, there is another story about a teacher and this shishya. He wanted to know what is Brahman. So the guy gets him a seed, okay? And he keeps on breaking the seed and cannot find anything there. He says, what you did not find, that is Brahman. Because that seed can be a huge tree, fruit, flower, everything, okay?
But the tree is not inside it.
Yet it is not inside it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is a very nice story from Upanishad.
Yeah. Okay. No, Upanishad has amazing stories, and Chandogya is all about this Brahman and description. So yeah, I love when Krishna says, just a little further. But let's go to the next one, which is avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhakta mivacha sthitam bhuta bhritam cha tanjyaya grasashnu pravivishnu cha. So you cannot divide that. It's like it talks about like the space. Space pervades everything, but you don't see it. It's like so.
Basically, this particular verse there, it says, he's abhibhakta. That means undivided.
Yeah.
Yet he appears divided. In other words, he is the unit, but appears as a multitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another paradox here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
but he also goes on to say that परमात्मा विष्णु से भूतों को धारण पोषण करने वाला और रुद्र रूप बन के संहार करने वाला. So it's like Grasishnu Prabha Vishnu cha. So it's like the maintenance part is done by Vishnu, and they appear to be different, but they're not.
That's right. Actually, Krishna, this is the fundamental principle of Vishishta Advaita.
Yeah,
Vishishta Advaita is that the Brahman is one,
yeah,
but presence in a multitude of form. Okay, so a simple example is a colorless light passes through a prism
yeah,
and breaks into 7 colors.
right.
Okay, so the Vishishta Advaita says that it is the source is the colorless light. The prism is the transformation
Yeah.
or manifestation into 7 colors. Okay, so although it is the source is one, the manifestation is multitude.
So that, avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktasmiva cha sthitam. So avibhakt, but still vibhakt. And you can see it in real life. Vishnu seems to be different than Shiva, but ultimately they are kind of, if you see the total function, it's so how does Advait manifest into Dvait if it does? And here we are not discussing the Vishishta Advait with Advait, that concept is a totally different discussion. But the way here, kind of this chapter 13 sounds very paradoxical, very kind of extremes, like smaller than a grain of rice and bigger than earth, or in many ways it's so difficult to express, obviously, even for people who know it. So how difficult can it be for us to grasp until I think Krishna goes into the methodology part, that we probably will discuss next time. But I think that's what chapter 13, I'm glad it is after all these chapters, because if it was the first chapter, I will be lost. you know.
Can I say something about that? There's a prose by Tagore. Yeah, okay. It says that sometimes when I sit in the nature and I observe it very intently, suddenly I feel there is a kind of shiharan or something like little tremor I feel inside. And suddenly I see that whatever I see all around me in the nature, and I start thinking, start feeling that this is me all there, by which it means that my Atman and this Atman, which is seen everywhere, it is the expression of Brahman. So we are all in union, and that is the union or the yoga.
That reminds me of another friend of mine who is in California, and he was very successful in business, but then he now just does meditation and talks about it as well. And he was giving me, I mean, sometimes he will do meditation for 6 hours, sit for 6 hours. And one of the things he shared with me, which was interesting, and I have experienced that as well, is that when you go deep down, everything is there. And that's what one of the verse we talked today, Janma Mrityu Jarab, Vyadhi, Sukh Dukh. And then we also talked about jealousy and the vikar, or some of those negative forces that we have. So he was saying that, one of the realization he had was that everything was inside there. We often filter it because, either we are conditioned by the society, or we get to a realization what to express and what not to express. But when you go inside, all the good things, all the bad things, all the ugly things, they're all inside there. The beauty of that experience is that you don't see it as outside you. You see it as, it's like part of you. And that's what Krishna says here, Kṣetra. So Kṣetra has got all the components.
Yes.
And
Positive and negative both.
yeah, and then when he says in that 14 that sarvendre gunabhasam, you are familiar with all of that, yet you are away out of it. So that is, I think, the description that I remember him, and you can get it, or all of us can get it if we go deep inside, is that is what Kṣetra is.
It is basically viewing the whole composition of us from outside. Okay, just by being an observer.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what it is. Then then we understand what's our composition is. Okay,
Yeah.
and the Native American has got a nice saying. I quoted that before to you. It says that we have got tools inside, the good and the bad one. It depends upon which one you feed.
Right. Which one you feed. But even if it's like, according to this, the chapter, all of that are part of the Kṣetra.
No question.
And then
Yes.
what you bring out in what you control, what you regulate, it's up to you. That's, you use your man, buddhi, intellect, everything that you learn. So many times people will talk about dhyan as if it is only a pleasant experience, uh, and it's like you feel peaceful, and yes, you do feel peaceful because once you know everything, you are peaceful.
That is right.
You know
And
that you are not attached to it. I mean, that attachment part is the one.
that's right.
And as we will learn next time, 14th chapter about gunas. Gunas are the binding forces uh, between, to keep us in this, this universe. Um, so that is, I think, an important point that you brought from there. So we come to the 17th, which is Jyotisha tad-jyotis tamasah paramichyate jnanam gyeyam jnanagamyam hridhi sarvasya vishishtatam. So I'll read the Hindi translation. वह परब्रह्म ज्योतियों की भी ज्योति है. It's the light of the light. It's like sunlight pervades everything.
The resplendent light.
Yeah. माया से अत्यंत परे कहा जाता है, but it's like you don't see it because it just uses that veil to kind of, which you have to penetrate with dhyan or meditation to get there. वह परमात्मा बोध स्वरूप जानने योग्य है एवं तत्व ज्ञान से प्राप्त करने योग्य है. It is worth knowing and it's worth experiencing.
Yes. So basically, what it talks about, one, what has to be known,
Yeah.
gear.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the knowledge about it? That is the jnanam.
Jnanam gyeyam jnanagamyam.
Jnanagamam, when you absorb that knowledge.
Yeah. But the beauty is that sabke hridhi sarvasya vishishtatam. It
Yes.
is in the heart of everybody.
That's right. That's
So
right.
it's not, he doesn't say that it's in the heart of good people.
It is for everybody. And remember, we talked about that before in Gayatri Mantra.
Yeah.
Okay. Ultimately, it goes there, Dhiyo yona prachodaya. Okay. O resplendent light, okay, shine your rays on me, make my intellect even better, betterment of. So that's what it is.
Jnanam gyeyam jnanagamyam hridhi sarvasya vishishtatam. This reminds me, hridhi, he talks about in the heart. And it's interesting, we are all head centers, especially these days, especially the Western mind or Western thinking is that everything is in our head. It's like mind is everything. It controls everything. And even in anatomy, we used to think all the neurons are in the brain. Now we know that there are some neurons in GI tract as well. So this heart part is in Upanishads. I mean, you read a lot of Upanishads, Amitabh. So I saw that in Chandogya Upanishad. Saw that in when Yamraj gives that lesson to Nachiketa. So it's very heart-centric. All the meditations they talk about, it's like, yes, third eye, Krishna talks about third eye meditation, but most of the time, if you have to focus, if you explore yourself, you explore through the heart or through the cave of the heart.
Yes. Many a times in Bengali, I read many essays and poems. The word uses Hirtkamal, okay, the lotus in the heart, okay.
Oh, Hrita Kamal. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So basically, I think because in the ancient time, whatever our emotions were, this is my thinking. I cannot support it by any knowledge.
yeah.
Uh, that our emotional reactions does affect the heart. Okay. In those ancient time, the brain was not perceived very much. Okay. Whereas the heart rate and the heart function is very much the rate goes up, the palpitation, or it goes down, those kind of things. And probably that forced us to understand everything related to heart. Anyway, but the bottom line is it is within us in depth of our physical constitution, and and this is the knowledge we have to get, because this illuminates our intellect and this leads to our union or the yoga nitya yuktam.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's an important part because I feel, because when you talk about meditation, chakra meditation, yes, you can focus on different chakras, but any meditation, like Vipassana, you focus on breathing. But otherwise, the meditations that Gita talks about or Upanishad talks about is more to do with heart, because that at least you have to start somewhere, the journey. Whether you start it third eye, whether you starts it on your nostrils. Even Vipassana, many people focus here, many people focus on a different portion of the breathing. But this is interesting that many of the Upanishadic meditations, or even in Gita, is heart-centered, because that is probably, the doorway to deeper exploration, or,
Yes,
entry into your inner world.
actually in all of the religious philosophies and everything, heart is very much emphasized in all
Heart.
of them.
Yeah. I mean,
And
ask
that's
a
not,
young man in love, when you were young, or I was young, or there are young people now.
so that's what the word good-hearted people. So when you say good brain people, you don't get that feeling. Okay. Brain is more associated with logic, heart is more with emotion, and that's how it is often described. So,
So our last verse is 18th, which the part I love there is he says that I'm giving you a summary, sankshipt. Iti kshetram tatha jnanam gyeyam choktam samasata madbhakta etat vikyaya madbhava yopapadyate. But Hindi translation it says that sanक्षेप से कहा गया. So I give you a summary of Kṣetra, Gyan, Gya. Doesn't look like summary to me. It looks like very deep.
I think the most important part of what we discussed, to understand what is this field, what is our body, what is our composition, what runs it, everything. It's inside, but yet it is outside. This is the summary of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So one is the composition, our physical, emotional, our modes of expression, modes of assimilation.
And that's all part of Kṣetra.
Yes, all inclusive is the Kṣetra. And outside this is the master, ringmaster.
Ringmaster, but he needs to know the whole picture.
He's
The
in the
whole
ring.
set.
He's in the ring. He's playing the animals and telling them what to do.
Yeah.
But he is not the performer there. He is the ringmaster.
Okay.
Okay. So that's all.
That's the Kṣetra give. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
And we'll come to that ringmaster in the second half of
I
this.
think second half, I think it's more about how to, it's like, but no, I mean, this is beautiful. I mean, this is, when I think of, Krishna guiding Arjun through meditation, I thought, what can be more than, showing himself the Virat roop? But there is more to it. And first he talks about bhakti before he got here. Because if you don't have bhakti, 13 is out of your grasp. I mean, if you really don't have that trust built by now in Krishna, forget it. It's like so.
Yes. Actually, when we discussed before,
Yeah,
in one of the chapters, he mentioned that the trust of the devotion has to be there to
yeah,
absorb all these principles.
totally right.
Yes. Otherwise, we'll keep on diluting it by doubts and logics and all those things. Logic
Questions
is
and where is
important.
the research and where is the finding? I mean, most or all of his things are logical. I mean, he answers like a scientist.
Yes.
His answers, and also he lives that.
Yes.
Krishna doesn't talk something that he doesn't live. He walks the talk, right?
Yes. And that's why after explanation, all these things, he says, go and fight. Okay.
Yeah,
He doesn't say that don't run away from it. He says go and fight, but with a different attitude, with this knowledge behind you. So that is very, very important.
yeah,
That no. So that, as I often mention to you, with this knowledge, with this trust, your devotion gets even stronger.
yeah, yeah. And your Gyan Chakshu, I mean, which we will come to that word, that is it's definitely a very important word because as our knowledge increases, it's like what you say, um, what the mind doesn't know, eyes do not see. So, in those terms, but Gyan Chakshu is different than eye of the mind. I mean, eye of the mind is is not as deep as when you know things, you suddenly see differently. You see the world differently, see the patient differently, do the surgery differently. Uh,
Gan Shakshu, as you said, it's a much more analytical global view
yeah.
rather than a myopic view.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Gyan Chakshu, but one of the things that Amitav, you sent me, and I looked it up in Chandogya Upanishad, which is very related here as well. We talked about Sarvakala Vidam Brahma. Buddha said, "You are what you think," but I think this Shandilya philosophy or Shandilya, he takes it a deeper meaning to that, right? Krit, word is the krut, and that is like how you resolve, your resolution or deep desire is what determines who you're going to be. So we talk of desire as a not so good thing, but that is deep desire, which sometimes I have, we have talked before, intrinsic drive, which I call, rather than, desire as a drive. Somehow, a deep desire to know who Kṣetra is.
Yes.
It's like, what is your deep desire? When Krishna says, think of me and fight, he's not trying to promote himself as a brand. he's trying to give Arjun a kind of deep kind of mission or resolve, which will come. It's like one is, as I said, intrinsic drive is one word we can use, deep desire or resolve or intention. How deep can it go to know Brahman or to know Krishna? And the deeper it goes, the deeper you follow that path.
Sure.
That's the reason I wanted to bring it here. Yes, it's good to know about Kṣetra, good to know about Kshetragya, good to know about the checklist. But the main thing is, what is your intention or my intention? Or what is our deep desire that's going to be? Is like by the end of Gita, I would be wanting to know Brahman more and more.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think that's why self-realization is so important. By self-realization, the very simple way, after reading Bhagavad Gita, then you start believing that, and I say that in very short 2 sentences. Atman is a spark from that Brahman.
Yeah.
Therefore, Atman has the same properties of Brahman. Okay. We as individual, Atman is within us, the source of us as individual. I mean, emotional and physical, all those things. However, the gunas and the perception, along with the ego and expectation, become the avidya or aparavidya. That becomes the cloud over that inner quality within us. Once we remove it, we are nitya yuktam or yuktatma.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
simple.
But do you want to be Nityayukta? That is the thing. That is
Yes.
what I was getting to.
Yes. You have to be. Okay.
Right. Like,
Okay.
like Buddha, when he was Siddharth, probably he has some desire. I mean, he was having a nice life, but certain things triggered that intensity in him, right?
Yes.
So I'm not saying that everyone needs to become Buddha and leave their house and responsibilities, but that intensity is what I think that Upanishad is talking about.
That's right. And in some way, Buddha also said that in the very first verse of Dhammapada,
Yeah.
every action is,
What do you think?
oh, yes, every action is born in thoughts, therefore purify your thoughts.
Yeah.
And actually, when you say purify your thoughts, that's the intention you are talking about.
Yeah,
That
that's that Chandogya Upanishad is talking about. It's saying that what, yeah, your deep desires will determine what you will be. So have a deep desire.
मामकः पाण्डवश्च किमकुर्वत सन्